Day 3, and I didn't give it an energy drink, but my Spitfire definitely now has wings. Hi there, I'm Gary, welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Now today is day 3 of the build of the 1/24th scale Spitfire. You may recall from the last show I'd finished the fuselage itself, and now we've moved on to building the wings and putting it all together and actually getting to the stage where we can put a base coat of primer on, which is very exciting. Now, if you enjoy the show, and I hope you do, please remember, imperial thumbs up on the button below. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the channel and hit that bell and you'll get notification of new videos as they turn up. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can do it through Super Thanks or any of my online partner programs. Please do excuse the voice. I'm still trying to get over this blasted cough thing that's been hanging around for a while. But we'll soldier on. And let's see how we get on with making this 1/24th scale Spitfire from Airfix.
Okay, going to start on the wing. The first thing I have to do is get rid of this. This is a holder for a gun camera. There's one on the other side as well. On the FR9, which is what I'm doing, it wouldn't have either. But what I'm going to do is just I will put this one in, put the transparent part in, and then just blank it over, just paint it over. On this side it's going to be blanked over anyway because it doesn't appear on this side, so this just needs to be trimmed off. Next thing to do is we've got these long rib-like things. This is like the back end of the flaps. So it slots into this here, fits into this tab here, and then just along up against tabs all the way along there, like that. And these sort of vent things, I suppose. They're vents, I don't know what they are yet, I'll find out later. These go into the main spar like so. Right, so now we're going to put the main spar in, and oddly enough, we're not going to glue it yet. It says not to glue anything for the moment, so we are going to put the spar in place roughly. Then we put this former, it sort of clicks in the bottom there, clicks in through a slot there, and that holds that roughly in place there. And then we make the wheel well, but we actually do glue those bits together. So for the wheel well, there are pieces that sort of slide together. There's like a clip affair there and there, and there's another one that goes here. Again, it sort of slots in like so. And these pieces slot into this rib of the wing, like so. So that's the completed wheel well section. You can see it forms a ring like here, then goes into this, and that sort of sits loosely in there. But there's also this piece, again, sits loosely. None of this is getting sort of glued in, which is a bit worrying, but that's what the instructions are saying. So just sort of loosely fit everything together. Let it all just sort of sit there, I guess, like that. That goes over there. Right, so that's kind of where it all sits. It's very bizarre, this whole thing at the moment because it's all solid. So we do exactly the same for the other side of the aircraft. With a quick review of the instructions, the actual wheel well part can be glued in. I guess that kind of anchors everything together. This is glued in, this will be glued in. This sits in the recess for the wheel well, and then everything else can kind of join in with it later on, I guess. It just feels very odd not actually gluing everything in place already, but there we go. Right, so now we've built the undercarriage bays and sort of slotted everything together. Now apparently we can glue the main spars in. Now I'm going to do them one side at a time because it says in the instructions to make sure each wing is flat when you do this. Keep them flat in order that they sit properly. Well, you can only do that on one side at a time unless you've got a clever angled board, and I don't. So I'm going to do one wing at a time, let that dry properly, so this is going to take quite a while to do. Let it dry fully, and then I'll glue the other side, and then we can get on from there. On some of these wing ribs, there's parts of some cooling vents. What would happen would there's some vents that let the guns cool down. It blows cold air from sort of ram air from the aircraft flying forward through pipes directly onto the guns to cool them down when they're firing. So these are all going in. It's a lovely touch. So next on the wing, we're putting in all of the ribs for the structure of the gun positions, the gun housings. All of these are the ones who just pre-dump. It doesn't go there. That one doesn't go there. That one goes there. I thought I'd laid them out in proper order. Obviously I hadn't. No, that one goes in next. Then this one. There we go. That's all the gun bays put in. Now, I'm going to put the ammunition tray for the 303s in next. The instructions say you should put the rounds in before this, into the top part of the tray here. I'm not going to do that because I want to spray this whole thing in aluminium, and I'll do the rounds separate. They come as a block. It's not like you've got an individual 303 rounds at this scale, but it comes as a block which will just sort of slot in later on. I want that to be completely aluminium first. And there's another cross piece, box member piece that goes in here. You can see the structure of the wing really coming together now. Then there's this wall for part of the 20mm cannon bay. It goes in here. And there we go. Then there's some support for the outer 303 goes in. The important thing, can you see that at the end there it's got notched? The notch has to be on the bottom. You can see it's sort of like it's sort of curves this way, feels like it curves this way. So it's going to sit pointing at an angle slightly downwards when it's in like that. So the notch goes to the bottom. It might actually be easier to put it in from the underside there, like that. Now for the rest of the cooling system, this piece goes in the 20mm Canon bay. Now, at the top it sits in really well. It's lovely. The bottom here, the hole is actually quite big. It's a lot bigger than the peg. I don't know if that's intentional or not. I don't know, but I'm going to just let it settle down where it is and hope that that's roughly right. And then finally, there's this one connecting pipe runs in front of the ammunition base that goes to the machine guns. So that's the wing structure, pretty much done. Just have to do the same for the other side now. I'm going to put in the 20mm cannon in the wing now. It just slots in. And what I've done since I last spoke to you is I have painted the interior here. Well, first of all, primed it in black and sprayed it in Duraluminium. The cooling vents I've picked out in plain aluminium, and then I've got black here for the guns, which I've dry brushed with aluminium. Then this case of the feed system for the 20mm cannon goes in like that, and then it sits on top of the barrel system like so. Because it's leading from this is where the ammunition tray is, and it's feeding into here. Right, and then we can put the ammunition tray in because I've now pre-painted it. So what I painted it with, I sprayed it black, and then I've added some kind of gold brassy colour here, and then just some sort of very flat aluminium-y, grey aluminium there for the 20mm rounds. Now I've got this Browning machine gun. It's the inboard Browning machine gun. The mounting bracket is here. But you can see on the mounting bracket there's like one tab is sort of slightly bigger than the other. The bigger tab goes to the inboard side of the gun, and the tab clips around, well, mounting rather, clips around. There's two small mounting points under there. That's it, and it sits like so. Remember, with the larger tab on the inboard side. Then the gun can slot into its mounting, push all the way through to the front, and then the mounting just sits into the wing like that. And the gun, you can see the gun just falls shy of the leading edge there. That's that done. And then a tiny spot of glue. Then the ammo feed can go into this side as well. Now the outboard gun, it's pretty much the same deal. There's this metal clip that sits over and into a mounting point there. There you go. On the outer gun, the wider part fits on the outside, like so. Okay. Then the gun can slide into its position with in the wing, like so. And just push it down so it's level with the rib. If it won't sit absolutely flat, then you probably just need to push gently on this support you made earlier, but otherwise it should be fine. Then, as with the inner gun, there's the feed line that needs to sit in, like so. And that's the armament in place. Right, so now the top surface of the wing can go on. You'll see I've sort of already pre-sprayed the inside of it with Dural because that's what it's going to be. And it all just sort of kind of sits together, like that. The wingtips come in 2 halves each. You just clip them together, clamp them up, and then run a bit of extra thin around the edge. Tips are dry. Then when the wingtips are dry, they simply slot into the end of the wing, like so. Right, we put together the ailerons now. They come, I guess this is because you can have them hinged and you can wobble them around and whatever, but they come with the hinge here and you're supposed to not glue it. Well, do you know what, I'm not having all that nonsense with the ailerons wobbling about. I'm having mine fixed, so they'll go on. The other half of the aileron will go on and they'll stay on. Thank you very much, Mr. Airfix. There we go. And we'll just let those dry. Then when they're dry, the ailerons can slot into place. The external barrels for the 20mm cannon come in 2 pieces, like so. Just put them together, glue them up, and then we can smooth them off before they go on the plane. Right, for the radiators, the radiator body's here. You can see it's got a 1 and a 2 pointing forwards, forwards like that, and so starboard 2, and that's upwards. Upwards faces away from this because this is the base. It sits in like that. And starboard 1 upwards, like so. Very, very cleverly done. I'm going to start building the radiators now. These, I'm doing them off the aircraft because I want to be able to spray on the inside to get the inside faces coloured, but I want to mask off the grills I've already painted in silver, so if we do them separately, then we can paint them, take the papers off, and then just stick them straight onto the wing. Okay, so that piece goes on here. Then is it this one? Yeah, this piece sits on the side like that. Sorry. Like that. Then when they're both done, then the cooling vent sits here, either closed or open. Okay, I'll just put all those together now. Right, we've come now to the, I'm putting the gun sight in, and putting these 3 parts was, very straightforward. In fact, here they are, painted black, lovely. The problem here for me is this, it says X6 is this piece here with a disc of transparent part and then the gun sight reflector itself, and that just fits into here. Now, on the actual kit, there is indeed the gun sight reflector piece here, but you'll notice that it doesn't have any circular bit at the bottom. There is, however, this bit here, X23, which is not referenced anywhere in the instructions and seems to be about the right size. So that sits into the top of your gun sight assembly as the projector lens, and then you can pop in this bit as the reflector gun sight on top of that. So that's what it looks like when it's all put together. Both the glasses are in, and a little bit of paint adapted. I actually put underneath the reflector glass, I put a little bit of liquid chrome just to give it a bit of sparkle as well. But that's ready to go in the plane now. Right, as you can see, I've done what I really didn't want to do, which was crack this transparency piece while I was trying to make a mask for it. So I've had to email the lovely people at Airfix, and let's see if they can supply me with a replacement. I hope they can. Haven't pulled any. Do you know who I am? And do you know I've got a YouTube channel? And I happen to know Dale Luckhurst. Any of that nonsense. I just filled in an email with the information they wanted, and hoping I'll get a replacement. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. In the meantime, I can still use this to cover the rear cockpit while I spray it. Just don't have to mask it anymore. So I only have to mask the windshield, and I have to mask the main canopy. Okay, and we put in the gun sight now, like so. Then we can fit the windshield in place like so. Some of the marked lines had a navigation light here, this one didn't, so we just have to fit the blanking piece into place there. We can have a quick recap of some of the things I've also done prior to spraying the kit. The door here, I'm actually having the door open, but this is one of the spare doors you get, so that's just tacked in place with just a little bit of white PVA to hold it in there. The front windshield has been set in properly. The rear glass has just, because I broke it and I've got to replace it later, I've just tacked that in place with a bit of PVA, just a couple of spots of PVA. Now the wings, I've done the same sort of thing really. I've taken the panels that are there that you can take off to have the gun ports open, which I will do, but I've used them to blank off the gun ports while I'm spraying. Just a spot of PVA at like opposing corners, just to hold it in place while it's being sprayed. And of course that also has the benefit if you're spraying the parts as well. Now the 20mm cannon, if you're building this with the covers on anyway, you don't put the big sort of bulbous magazine feed part on at all anyway. However, I am having the panels open, so what I have to do is cut out a piece. Now you get two types of blister panel for the 20mm cannons. This is the later one that's quite wide. The one I actually use for this kit is the narrow teardrop blister. However, I'll spray that separately so I can have it resting on here. But the other one, you can cut out the piece where the feed bulge is, cover that with a bit of tape, and then use that spare to cover the hole. So it all gets covered up, but you haven't damaged the actual one you're going to use. And it's the same on the underside as well. Just use the panels that you're going to take off, tiny bit of PVA glue just to sort of bond them in place.
There we go then. That's how far we've got. It's ready for, I think we need to maybe just give it a very light sand, and then we can another prime, and then we can start looking at paint, PRU paint. Once I've done the basic painting on this, I'm going to leave it a basic paint and then varnish and then leave it alone for a while, because then I'll get on with doing the engine. I want the varnish to set nicely before we start doing any weathering. I'm yet to decide when I'm going to do the markings, because the markings are being sprayed. So I'll see how the priming goes. If the priming looks good and the finish is okay, I might just do some white parts for the invasion stripes that this aircraft had before, and then mask those off before I go on to doing the all over pink. There's not an awful lot, fortunately, to do in terms of the markings. It's not like it's got loads and loads and loads of them. Basic roundels, basic ID, and stuff like that, and then the stencils that come with the kit will be fine. So there we go. So next thing, get the basic coats done, get the basic paint done, and then start on that wonderful Merlin engine. That's the plan anyway. So I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have, please do remember to come back. Best way to do that is to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and you'll be notified when new videos come up. And of course, anything on my channel you like watching, please do say so with the imperial thumbs up on the like button below. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.